All right, so Ben, I understand what ETFs are now.
Okay.
I've watched this video. Pretty comfortable with the concept.
Yeah, great.
But I'm a little intimidated.
Oh my!
It's just crazy. What do I do with it? I don't know a lot about investing.
Well, as we stated before, one important thing when you have a portfolio or you start investing is to think about diversification. I mean, that's one of the most important parts of having a strong portfolio, and especially in a market like this. And these ETFs, offer ways to utilize diversification. For instance, when you find a stock, as we stated this before, let's say it's you want to invest in Exxon. Well, you don't want to put all your money in Exxon, so you want to invest in an energy ETF. That way, you can have, let's say, 6% of your money allocated to Exxon, but another 94% allocated to other energy stocks.
Yeah.
And that's really important about diversification.
Just as an example here, because I did a little homework for Ben before we came in, you could look at a product like the IYE, which is the iShares Dow Jones U.S. Energy sector.
Mm-hmm.
So it invests in different energy companies that are based in the U.S.
Right.
And that's all that's in the index. It's only energy companies. So let's say I like Chevron for whatever reason. I think it's a great company. It's going places. But I'm a little uncomfortable with putting all my money on that one horse.
Right.
Well, I can buy IYE, which is the ETF that I was telling you about, and that's got, as of yesterday, a 13.86% weighting. So that's a pretty serious part of the index, but you don't have all the money on one horse. So you're betting kind of on the broad area, but still benefiting from Chevron if it really takes off the way you think it will.
Yeah. And with diversification, you're also, within your portfolio, you can have exposure to different sectors more so than just through individual stocks.
Yeah.
For instance, you can invest in, as we said, like consumer staples, ETFs, energy ETFs, commodity ETFs. So you get exposure to various sectors, various areas of investing that you normally don't have just with regular stocks.
So let's take that, and let's say if you wanted to start a portfolio, and you wanted to put 10 holdings in there.
Okay.
You could just choose 10 stocks that you really liked.
Right.
Or we can do what we've been talking about with diversification, and we can choose 10 ETFs. So let's say there's 10 holdings in each ETF. That means instead of just having 10 holdings in the original, we now have 100 different holdings. So that's
Exactly.
just multiplying your diversification, which I think is a good way to invest, especially when we're young. And I think also
It reduces the risk that you face from any one company.
Right.
When you spread the money around, you're going to benefit from the broad moves that affect the sector in general,
Yeah.
and reduce your risk to some serious issue with one individual company that you would face if you had 10 individual companies in your portfolio.
And that's why diversification is so important, that it reduces risk. And that's one reason why ETFs are so important, because they reduce your risk.
And we utilized this on the summer. We had a little intern challenge against another company where we had a stock market gain that lasted a couple months, and we invested in several different ETFs. One being the DBO, which is a oil ETF, and I think this is getting into a little more detail. But one of the great ways to utilize ETFs is to track commodities. I know a lot of people, what's a commodity and things like that. But of course, you've heard about the price of oil. It's fluctuated from
Every day.
140 to it's about $39 a barrel right now. So I came here and I had no idea how to invest in oil or anything like that. But it's so easy now with these ETFs. Like I said, the DBO, which is the Power Shares Oil Fund, that tracks oil going up. So if you thought oil was going up, there was some big news or anything like that, you could buy the DBO. So essentially, you're investing in oil and banking on it going up.
Yeah, that's true, and that's really one of the beauties of ETFs here.
Yeah.
It's not just for diversification. What this product has done is it's opened up investment types to people that wouldn't really have had access to it before.
Exactly.
Because commodities, like you were talking about, to trade in the actual commodities product, you need to have a pretty hefty sized portfolio, and you need to be willing to take on a lot of risk.
A lot of risk.
And there's all sorts of paperwork you have to sign and that kind of thing with your broker to say that you understand that you're willing to do all that.
None of the three of us could ever do that. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
None of us are at that point,
Right.
and you might not be either. But using these ETFs, you can invest in those commodities through these index funds and get exposure that we never would have been able to do 10 years ago.
And for instance, 10 years ago, the buzzword globalization, came to be. And so with the financial world expanding, how does the average Joe
That's not funny.
How is the average Joe, here we go, how is he able to invest in every sector, every aspect of this changing financial world as a result of globalization.
Yeah.
Just as a thought exercise here, because you mentioned globalization.
Right.
Everybody who's listening, grab a pen and paper real quick. I want you to write down all the just off the top of your head, as many companies as you can that are based in Lebanon, Peru,
Don't have them.
Chile,
Nope.
Egypt, Kuwait,
China.
Czech Republic.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Singapore.
you might not know any of them. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But the beauty here is that you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that you can use ETFs like the ones I was listing off. Those are all involved in the Claymore Frontier Markets Fund. And you can buy a portfolio that has an index that's been constructed by people who are extremely knowledgeable about, the international arena.
Right.
And they've found a way for you to invest in one product that gives you exposure to all those economies.
Exactly. And I just want to hit on this globalization idea a little bit more, because it might be a new concept to some of the people that are watching out there. But the idea of emerging markets.
Yeah.
Our here at Dorsey Wright, we do a lot of research on emerging markets, and that's looking like it could be a play in 2009. And there's different ETFs, not just for specific countries like you were talking about, but just on emerging markets in general. One I had written down was the SPDR S&P Emerging Asia Pacific Markets. That's an ETF you can invest in, so instead of investing in the specific companies that we have no idea what they are, we're investing in the emerging market idea as a general principle.
Well, like we said, it's like ETFs. They give you the possibility to invest in these and gain exposure in places where otherwise you couldn't. I mean, it's almost impossible to invest in a company in Peru or China, but these ETFs allow you to gain exposure to these companies that a normal stock position wouldn't allow you to have.
Right.
And that's really important. The average person can have access to the world.
Yeah.
But it's not just international stock and commodities either. Ben, what's your real estate portfolio look like?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Pretty good right now? You well diversified in the real estate area?
I got Caribbean, Africa.
Yeah.
Well, ETFs again come to our rescue here, because you have indexes that track what are called REITs, which is real estate investment trusts,
Right.
which is the same idea. It's a pooled amount of money that owns different properties. So you can buy a product that lets you invest in real estate without, if you're in our position, I definitely don't own any property right now.
I don't.
I myself don't either.
There you go. But even in our position, we can be investing in that if there's, we think there's a real estate boom ahead. And not just here. There's funds that track real estate in the developed markets, in the emerging markets, all over the globe.
I think what we're getting at here is the sky's the limit with the ETFs. So I think we would just wrap it up a little bit. Did you want to mention a few points or a few websites that we were going to go over?
Oh, sure.
These are great resources to research a little bit more about the ETFs.
Well, aside from Dorsey Wright, obviously,
Right, of course.
which has some great tools in terms of, we've got collaboration of ETFs. It kind of pulls everything together for you to look at, listings of weightings of different stocks in them, as well as models that you can use to invest in them. But you can also use websites that are, you don't need an account for and are open to the public. ETF Connect,
Great site.
Index Universe, or ETF Trends are all going to give you updated information as, new developments that happen, new funds are released, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Another website, and this is going to be kind of cumbersome for me to read to them, but it's ETF.stock-encyclopedia.com. And that site, I really like it. It's something I found recently because it has a composite of all the ETFs that are out there.
Yeah.
So you can go through it and it'll give you, links to the individual companies from there, but it's a great database for looking at the entire ETF universe as a whole.
And when you start learning about these ETFs, you actually can go to the websites, like, for instance, iShares. They have a bunch of ETFs that they sell. Vanguard, PowerShares, WisdomTree, First Trust, and SPDR. And just, Google those names, and you'll have their websites. They're very interactive. They have, they have a lot of information about how they use, like, what exactly is an ETF, how they have, where they put their holdings, etc.
Yeah, it's a great tool. I think we're going to wrap it up there for the ETF.
Would like to let everyone know that the interns now have a blog that you can check out.
We don't have anything on it yet, but we will. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at dwainterns@dorseywright.com.
DorseyWright.com. Check us out.